Number 11, objections are between the customer and themselves, not between the customer and you. I want you to imagine a teenager and a parent talking over college options one day. The teenager is struggling with their college choice, and they're just frustrated because they can't figure out the right choice. There's a tense back and forth between the parent and the teenager because there's a lot of built up confusion and ambiguity and frustration involved. And so, if you were to see that scene from a third person perspective, it looks like the parent and the child are fighting, doesn't it? But what the parent has to realize is that the child isn't upset or frustrated with them. It's not about them at all. The lash out behavior is really just an internal conversation that teenager is having with themselves out loud. They're working through the problem and they can't figure it out. And now it's bubbling over. If the parent just responds with the same frustration and anger and confusion, they'll get nowhere. But if they understand what's really happening, they can patiently guide the child back the way they need to go. In other words, they can handle the situation because nothing is personal. It's not an attack. It's not even about the parent at all. The same thing is true when you're dealing with prospects. The objections they give you are just an internal conversation they're having out loud during the buying process. So when they tell you, this just seems really outside of our budget, what they're really asking themselves is the price worth the value? When they tell you, I'm just not sure, we're gonna look at some other options, they're really saying to themselves, I just don't have enough certainty to move forward yet. The sales warrior sees it as their duty to make those objections about resolution, not about the struggle itself. They commit to understanding the real objection is rarely what the customer says it is. Look, I see so many salespeople fall into this defensive trap when they get an objection. It suddenly triggers this need to fire back with all the reasons they're wrong about that objection. Even if it's done in a friendly way, what's the problem with that response? It's not customer mission focused. You're engaging as if the customer has a problem with you. But that's not the case, is it? The sales warrior has this belief that there is no such thing as a personal objection. It's just a conversation the customer is having out loud that they can guide toward resolution. This is a powerful and liberating belief for a sales warrior. Think about what this means. If it's not about you, then everything is working in your favor. Nothing is a fight or an attack or a struggle. It's just a conversation you can help guide to total resolution without a shred of fear.
Okay, so number 11, objections are between the customer and themselves, not between the customer and you. This is something that is so interesting because the first time I heard you say it, it was so obvious. I thought, oh my God, duh. How come I haven't thought about it that way my whole life? My whole life it has been, I am battling, I am overcoming this objection. I'm, putting on my sales armor to go overcome this. But of course it's not about me. Of course it's just between the customer and themselves. And so what I love about this is the reverence that it gives the sales warrior for their own emotional control. I mean, that is one of the things that makes a great sales warrior is being able to dissociate, which is to step outside of ourselves and to see the situation from a third party view and go, okay, this is not about me. I can look at this from an outsider's view, and I can now handle it, and I can help the prospect work through their own internal conflict to come to resolution. I love this, Jason.
Yeah, that's it. And again, I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination that I have mastered this. There are plenty of sales that I have paused in my career, even recently, because someone gives me an objection to our training or to one of our services that we're providing. And, I take it very personally. And it's about, again, stepping back and realizing that they're just verbalizing and talking things through. again, they're just sharing their thoughts out loud. They have this inner monologue that now is coming out. And if we can just kind of step back and facilitate that conversation between, part of their brain that says, I want to do this, this makes a lot of sense, and the other part of their brain that says, whoa, this seems like it's going to be very expensive, or this seems like it's going to be a lot of work. And if we can kind of facilitate and create kind of a parts alignment between the two parts, then we're going to get the sale. But as soon as we associate to it, we jump in and we take that personally, then again, we're out of rapport with the buyer, and we definitely can't give them certainty and education to move them forward.